Do you think it's a genocide?
Oof.
Do you think it's a valid
Do I think
way
it's
to
a
describe
genocide?
For context, like this is a conversation that's been going around, and leftists particularly have been trying to push the idea that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. I mean, Israel had to defend themselves at the international court from this accusation from South Africa as well.
Yes. I don't know if I know enough to label it as genocide. It's definitely genocide adjacent.
It's
Genocide adjacent, right? It's close enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if it matters. Like for me, I don't know if it matters to be labeled as a genocide exactly, because what is the definition of genocide? Is the elimination of a people in whole or in part with the intent of eliminating, a people whole or in part, or something.
That sounds
like
right to me. Yeah.
So, is the intent to eliminate the people in whole or in part?
The thing is, when you do describe it when you define it that way, I think there's so much evidence in favor of it being a genocide. Like everything that comes out of the Israeli government says we do not accept the future existence of a Palestinian state.
Yeah, right. When Benjamin Netanyahu comes out and he says a river to the sea equivalent for Israel,
yes,
that's genocidal rhetoric. Full stop.
Yeah.
That's genocidal rhetoric. That's him being a genocidal maniac.
Yeah.
Right? Whether or not that's the exact policy that's getting implemented right now, I genuinely don't know.
It's like I hear you, as in like when you compare it to what Germany did to the Jews.
Which is also the most extreme example though, right? Because if we look at Serbia, I would definitely say what the Serbs did against the Bosnians was a genocide. Okay. Right? Because that was the elimination of a people whole or in part.
Yeah.
But I'm just it makes it difficult because I don't know if Israel is killing Palestinians as like a way of war rather than like a mass system of death.
No, and I think that's fair because we still do see like so much evidence that Hamas has these military bases and operations in civilian areas, in civilian buildings, in hospitals. I think a report came out that that a Hamas tunnel base was built literally underneath the UN building that was there.
Right?
Like so.
And so, like in Serbia with Srebrenica, I think is the one. The comments will correct me on that. In Srebrenica, they were literally just fucking murdering and raping hundreds of women and children.
Yeah.
You know, and like literally in the war, they had concentration camps. And it was the first time concentration camps had been on European soil since Germany.
And there was no preemption of that.
No.
Right? There was no October 7th.
Right. There was like a civil war going on with the breakup of Yugoslavia, but it wasn't like this, you know, intense, you know, I don't know. Like with, there wasn't an October 7th equivalent.
Yeah. There wasn't a
in
spark
that.
like that.
So like with it makes it difficult for me to call it a genocide though.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you do? Would you do it?
When I first thought about it, I was thinking about the West Bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they're doing in the West Bank is much less extreme than what they're doing in Gaza, and yet their actions and what they're promoting Israeli settlers to do points towards let's eliminate these people, right? And it's like okay, well the West Bank is already still controlled by Israel.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be where Palestinians live in apartheid state, more or less.
Yeah.
But then they encourage Israeli settlers to go in and to commit violent acts, and seems to me like slowly wipe them out.
See, so for like I view what's going on in the West Bank as like an almost decentralized genocide, right?
Well, if you think that, then I think it's hard.
But what's going on in Gaza is not decentralized at all.
Okay.
Right. It's a war going on.
Sure.
In Gaza.
Okay.
And so I like would you like Iraq by the United States wasn't a genocide?
No. What's going on in the West Bank? You call it decentralized, and it is being carried out by citizens, but it is being directed and encouraged by the government.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I guess the question is that enough of a connection to call it genocide on the part of the government? But does it even need to be on the part of the government? Does it matter if it's decentralized or centralized?
I don't know if it does.
To me, I think it's just I think it could very well be the leadership of a genocide with two different strategies in two different places, right? And October 7th has just given the excuse to carry it out much harder in Gaza.
So, but then the question is, do you think there was a way for Israel to go to war with the Palestinians in Gaza that would not be a genocide? Like how would
they could they could listen to the pleas of the Biden administration, Anthony Blinken and Jake Sullivan, in saying, let's go in with more precision attacks and not hit them with these enormous 2,000-pound bombs and missiles.
Yeah.
Right? They could. Of course, there is a reason for them to push back against that. It does risk the lives of Israeli soldiers more, but I would definitely have a harder time calling that a genocide. Right?
I guess.
It's not 100% clear. I don't like the leftists that are saying it's 100% clear. I don't agree with, but there is a lot of evidence there.
I do think there's a lot of evidence there. When the rhetoric from the government comes out and they say we want to control all the land from the West Bank to the Gaza Strip, that they want it all under Israeli control. That's nothing more than genocidal rhetoric, because then what does that mean you do to those people, right? It has to be an elimination of whole or in part.
Yeah.
Right? There's no alternative to that.